What's going on, guys? Multiverse Corrupt here with yet another action figure review video, and today we're having a look at the DC Direct's Page Punchers Heatwave from Mcfarlane Toys. Starting off this video, guys, as always, we are taking a look at the DC Direct packaging, and it is, of course, that beautiful black, white, and red with the open face window, DC Direct and Mcfarlane logo here, the big DC logo on the side, and Heatwave's name at the bottom. Flipping over here to the side, guys, it does say Heatwave from the Flash comic. Going over here to the back, guys, it is, of course, just the comic and the figure itself displayed beautifully with all the other logos here. Flipping over here to this side, guys, we see DC Direct from Mcfarlane Toys with the Page Punchers logo down here. Nothing really going on at the top, and then down here at the bottom is the barcode for you barcode guys. With all that said, though, guys, let's go ahead and rip Heatwave out of the packaging and take a closer look. As he grew older, Mick's pyromania grew uncontrollable. Inspired by Central City's band of costume supervillains, the Rogues, Mick invented his handgun-sized flamethrower and a flame-retardant suit for himself. He adopted the codename Heatwave as he began channeling his destructive urges into profit. So right here, guys, is Heatwave out of the packaging, standing on the rotating turntable. And for my first-hand impressions, I'm kind of about this guy. I don't really know how to describe it. He's just kind of bland. It's the white and the orange and kind of like a smoke gray. There is detail, but it's just the paint itself is just kind of And he's kind of clunky as well. Very little articulation from what I've seen so far. It doesn't so much as feel like tight joints, but it just feels like he's in the way of himself. I know, it's Heatwave. He's the big hothead. He's the, the tank of a man trying to burn through everything to get the job done. But it just kind of doesn't work for me here. With all that said, though, guys, let's go ahead and get Heatwave off of the rotating turntable and take a closer look at the accessories that he came with. Starting off with the accessories, guys, I am, of course, including the comic book like I did with the rest of them. And if you saw my previous videos, you already know this comic here will stay in the package and is for you. Just DM me on Instagram or Twitter, let me know your shipping information, and I will ship it out to you. As for the rest of the accessories, guys, Heatwave does come, of course, with the standard Mcfarlane base, and it does, of course, have DC's logo just stamped right there on the front, but nothing else going on. And he does, of course, come with a trading card, which, of course, has the cover of the comic on the front of the card. Heatwave's name down at the bottom. Flipping over to the back, guys, is the read-up if you want to pause the screen and read it right now. Always give you guys that little bit of a second. And unfortunately, he doesn't come with anything else. No extra hands, no flame effects, nothing at all. They really did the bare minimum when it comes to Heatwave. When it comes to the detail, guys, I know I didn't give the announcement for the detail, but you knew it was coming. The detail on this figure is kind of what's saving it for me. It's not really doing a lot for it because the articulation, like I said, and like you'll see, doesn't really get that much out of it, being that he is this big, clunky monster. But I digress. We're here for the detail. The detail. Starting off with the head sculpt, guys, we do have the Heatwave mask, and I'm not a big fan of it. I mean, the detail is nice. Got some little air vents here and got a little design going throughout it, but it just kind of makes him look like a turtle to me. I'm not really sure what it is. He just has this whole turtle vibe going on, and it's not really that amazing to me. Going down here to his chest now, guys, I like the armor plating we see up here on the front, but it is lacking paint. Has detail, just no other paint. And of course, we do have the smoke gray harnesses going throughout here and this little smoke gray tube for his flamethrower here on his arm. But it is just something is lacking, whether that be paint or detail in certain spots. There's just something about this one that just screams bare minimum. Going over here to his back now, guys, we do see that his little fuel pack for his flamethrower. And it is beautifully detailed. It even has like a little exhaust point here, but it is still lacking paint. It's just a big orange plastic slab across his back. It's very, very annoying. Going down here now, guys, looking at the flamethrower itself. Now, this is where most of the detail went. And let me tell you guys, It looks freaking amazing. The flamethrower is the best part of this entire figure to me, but unfortunately it is still lacking paint. And me personally, I would have made a forearm swivel for the flamethrower. Didn't have to go over here, but just a little forearm swivel like we see with like NECA toys, just to get a little more play factor in to the figure itself. Going down here now, guys, to his waist and his crotch line, still beautifully detailed, especially when it comes to his little belt here. Let's go ahead and move this arm out of the way. The detail is perfect throughout the belt, and I personally wouldn't even add more paint to this belt. I like the smoke gray, and it does stand out. Maybe some silver when it comes to the canisters, but other than that, the belt looks amazing. Down here to the legs now, guys. For me, he's still lacking paint, but the detail is very nice. I like the separations of the plates and even where the bolts connect into the armor. It does look fantastic. So detail-wise, guys, Heatwave looks amazing. But for everything else, he's big, he's awkward, he's clunky, he's lacking paint. He's just orange and white. And I personally have never seen this suit for Heatwave before in my life. I know it's ripped from the pages of this book, but I wasn't a big fan of it when I read the comic either. With all that said though, guys, let's go ahead and zoom out away from the detail and take a closer look at his size, articulation, and some size comparison. When it comes to how tall Heatwave stands, guys, Heatwave does stand at exactly, looks like 7 1/4 again, like we've seen with the rest of the figures in this wave. Let's go ahead and take him off of his base, guys, and move him closer to the camera for some articulation. When it comes to his head articulation, guys, he can look up ever so slightly, about that far, and he can look down all the way. He is on a ball joint, so he can rotate his head all the way, and he does, of course, get some head tilt in there. When it comes to his arm articulation, guys, his arms go out about that far. The butterfly joint barely works with this one here. It's really, really snug, but it is still there. He does have bicep swivel and double hinged elbows. His wrist articulation goes down, but it does not go up, thanks to his giant gauntlet over here being in the way. Going over here to his ab crunch now, guys. His ab crunch does go forward, but it doesn't go back on this one, which is really backwards for Mcfarlane toys. He's got a little bit of an ab tilt in there as well. When it comes to his waist, he does have a waist swivel, but I can't get my fat fingers in between here of his chest plate and his belt to make his waist twist on its own. So you got a little ab twist in there as well. When it comes to his legs go forward about that far. They go back about that far, thanks to his rubber butt being in the way. He does, of course, have double hinged knees, but he has these massive boots on that get in the way as well. Oop, I just pinched the crap out of myself. Wow. Going down here now, guys, to his ankles. His ankles go down about that far. They go up about that far. He does, of course, have toe articulation, but it's kind of like his tippy toes there. And he does, of course, come with ankle pivot. Starting off the size comparison, guys, here we have Heatwave next to the Flash and Atom from the same Page Punchers wave, and they do scale together beautifully. Still within the same wave, guys, here we have Captain Cold standing next to Heatwave, and I will say they do scale together beautifully, but for me it's going to be weird seeing the best figure in the wave for me next to the worst figure of the wave. Jumping out of the DC Universe, guys, and moving over to the world of the TMNT, we have the NECA Toys Last Ronin Unarmored Edition standing next to Heatwave, and like I said, it's just turtle vibes. Turtle vibes all day for me. And last but not least, guys, here we have Mr. Fantastic from Marvel Legends standing next to Heatwave, and it simply does not work. Alrighty, guys, and there you have it. Another action figure review video in the books on my channel for you guys to enjoy. When it comes to my review on Heatwave, I'm going to have to give him a solid 4.5 out of 10. There's just something about this guy. The lack of paint. Trust me, guys, the detail is there. If you are there for your figures when it comes to detail, then this is the guy for you. But if you are a guy like me and wants good articulation, detail, and paint, this guy is just simply not it. He is just a very bland, turtle-shaped Heatwave that is just the blandest shade of orange and the smudgiest shade of white they could find. He is just basic as can be, and he is not one of my favorites. Definitely not top 10. Maybe bottom 10. This guy is pretty bad for me. When all that said though, guys, if you did enjoy this video, go ahead and hit like and hit subscribe if you haven't already. Leave me a comment down in the comment section below, and I will see you in the next video. Later.